say it, they deserve more. And I don't mean like money wise. I mean like just altogether, the NFL is the biggest income taking in, money taker
It
in
really
because of,
is.
and yet the players really, and somebody today again, C3 Panther podcast, they had this call and they brought it up and they were talking about how Richardson and the last one was trying to compare the NBA pays out as much, they can pay out the same, and they have 4,000 some players and they only have
Yeah.
450. But the NBA also plays like what, 82 games? They play 16. So like, and they're paying out the same, but we all know that the NFL makes far more money every year annually than the NBA does. That's, I mean, they do this stuff on ESPN and the sports shows all the time about how much more annually the NFL makes. And so
Yeah.
really those numbers are just like most stats. You can use them to tell whatever story you want, and they used them to lie to the players and get what they wanted. Players need more. They need more, but here's the thing. They need to give up this idea that playing football is can be mamby pamby through practice and everything else. They need, and if the what they need is to go back to somewhere from where the old rules were in the past CBA, where they killed them during practice, and they
Yeah.
between that and what they have now, where they're not doing anything, and it's just terrible on fundamentals and developing players. It's just really hard. They need to find the happy medium there in this next CBA. Long-winded. My point is, Dave, so you can jump in. If this time, if there's a lockout, I'm going to be pissed at the owners. It shouldn't be this hard. Stop being greedy. It's been long enough. You've made enough money. Like, you need to get in there. You need to really tell them, like, there should be an 18-game schedule. I agree with that. I want more football. They can take some preseason, and I think preseason should be
Maybe bump in
mandatory.
one more bye week too.
No, well, there should be another buy. Whatever you need to do to make it work so the players are comfortable, the owners need to get off their crotchety asses and just make this work so there's not a lockout. That's my point. It's don't like I'm not saying give the farm away, but this idea that a couple of million here or there that they're not, or a billion here, a billion there, when projected revenue that's going to be nothing. Like, I'm tired of that. Like, if there's a lockout this time, even if the players are the ones that are unwilling to sign an unfair deal, I'm gonna be pissed at the owners. I'm just saying it right
Yeah.
now. Like, I want to put it out there and start it now before they start their shit. This lockout will be on the owners because it is time for them. The players did themselves in the last ones, and the owners gave them stupid stuff like not being able to practice. That's only
Yeah.
hurt them. It's really only hurt their ability to make money because now they don't develop fast enough. They're getting franchise tagged, and in negotiations are like, well, you're not here yet and you've been in the league 4 years. And so really all that did, the owners agreed to it because in the back end it saves them money because players aren't as good until years 8 and 9, and then they start telling them they're getting too old and don't want to pay them. So they're really not paying premium dollar for any of their players based on the CBA they have right now. And and that's why the owners were so quick to sign it when this one got pushed to the table. It was a great deal for them. Why would they?
Yeah.
But we still we had preseason lockout. We missed preseason football. It affected the season. I'm done with it. Like, I don't care what the players are doing as long as it's within reason, but they need to give up the idea that football can be done in a mamby-pamby way. It's going to be hard on your body, but they should have full coverage life and health insurance for them, period. Period. Like, it's not that hard. Like, it's not that hard to have some sort of escrow. Like, this is 2020. Like, all this stuff it's science has proved it. There's the research. It's out there. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Definitely.
They don't need fully guaranteed contracts, but they should have health insurance because if you have full coverage health insurance, you don't need to worry about having all this extra money to pay for your, that's what they're bitching about. There's no security. Well, even if you don't make them billions of dollars, if you play a year in the NFL and you get full coverage health insurance, well, if you only play a year, you're not going to have as many problems. So that's not like, don't give me it's going to cost a lot of extra money. Those guys, like, all health insurance companies have if you use it a lot, they're going to start like going, hey, That's the insurance company's problem. They'll take care of that issue for you if you think that it's being used too much. So, I don't know. What do you think, Dave? I got long-winded there. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, obviously, if they're going to want to do an 18-game schedule or a 17-game schedule, obviously the players are going to want more money. The thing is, people bring up, oh, well, baseball and basketball. Well, I mean, 18 games or 17 games, that's 17 or 18 car wrecks after car wrecks after car wrecks after car wrecks. The other sports don't take a physical nature. Yes, they're played by physical beings, but they don't beat the crap out of each other. That's why it's called a foul in those sports. So, yes, players are going to ask for more money. Yes, it's going to seem ridiculous, but you're right. The owners need to stop being greedy here. I mean, you look at Jerry Jones. He makes $1 billion every year in Cowboys, but they're complaining about how players might make more money. Jerry makes a ton of money and doesn't give it back. It's in his pocket. I understand he owns a team, but god dang, there should be a limit somewhere. So, nope, I'm all for the expanded schedule. More football, more fun. That's just me.
How come your camera's not working either?
I must have turned it off. Why do you need to see me?
Well, it makes it easier for us to communicate. Oh, there you go. That's that big.
Sorry, I must not have turned it on. I don't know why.
All right.
My bad.
What's next, man? That created a good conversation. I like that.
Also, next. Huh?
This is like the bye-week blues. That's what I'm calling it. So we're just nailing stuff. Yeah, there's the fail horn.
But, you know what? There's also another receiver that got waived today was Antonio Callaway from Cleveland, which, right before the game he got waived because he is looking at a 10-game suspension for drug use. And it's not the first time he's done this, folks. That's why he's getting such a big suspension. It's going to go into past the regular season and possibly in the next season. So, yeah, teams aren't probably going to take it too big of a look at him. Maybe pick him up on a low waiver, but that's it. I mean, even if he goes through waivers, he can go through and be signed to a really cheap contract and try to be picked up next year as well. Oh, so we have a question from our good friend Monty from the Full Monty Show. Who is the defensive MVP from the Packers? Is he talking for the season or the game?
I think he's going with the season here.
Well, I am going 2 players. It's co-MVP. I mean, you know what? No, I'm going, and this isn't even I'm doing this as let's say, a 3-player tie. It's the 3 free agents we signed on defense. Amos has been what he's been advertised. Both Smith brothers have been what they've been advertised. They're sitting at 18.5 sacks. They lead the league in sacks combined. We have the 3rd highest sack leader. We have the 6th highest sack leader in the NFL combined. So, I mean, I've got to put those guys as a co-MVP across the board. I mean, wouldn't you agree on that?
Yeah, I would have to go with the Smith brothers because, I think they're half sack in difference, and they're constantly meeting together. They were signed on the same day.
Preston's got 10.
A package.
Darius has 8.5.
See, they're like a sack and a half away. But let's be real. There's a lot of those sacks. There's at least a sack that Za'Darius.
They help one another.
Right. They're basically both touching the quarterback every time they sack one. It's just amazing. I would definitely go with those 2 for the defensive MVP because you would have expected to be Clark, but he got banged up. He came back with a vengeance
last game.
Week.
He looked like his old self.
But
I was
the Smith brothers
the first 8 weeks?
But the Smith brothers have been on fire since week 1.
Bruce put it perfect. They've changed the culture. They literally have changed the culture for this defense. And it's still even beyond the defense. I'm going to go straight up and say it to the top. Matt LaFleur has put a concept into this locker room, and he says it after every post-game locker room speech. He has a player or himself close out with a speech and ends it with 1, 2, 3, family. He considers this a family. The guy that's standing next to your left and your right, you're going to have his back. The guy that stands behind you and in front of you, that you're going to have his back. It's just that is a family environment. When you get guys that close-knit together, especially as a defensive unit, as an offensive unit, and then you get the offensive and defensive and the special teams units together and mesh, it builds positivity. It builds the fact that you're having fun in football. It builds the fact that you can go out and watch a team and you know which team is clicking. You know which team in the locker rooms aren't going to have rifts. I mean, God forbid the media tried all season long to get Rodgers and LaFleur to have a rift. But look, nothing has broken these guys.
Oh, and
They're
we're going to get to that
top
question
willed.
in the final drive at the last segment of the show, too. Just
What'd
as
you
a
say?
teaser. Said we're going to get to that in the final drive segment, last of the show, part of the show. So,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
guys.
that's fine. I was just
Hey,
answering
well,
Monty's questions because I know he's listening.
Yes, I know. And let's take Monty's question and add to it, since, it's a bye week and there's, and we're just filling time and BS in here. What would be the offensive MVP? And this has been all over Twitter, and I'm doing this because I know it's going to light a fire under your big ass.
Because
I am reading one right now
earlier.
from Miss Savannah Dean, who put out, Packers guard Elton Jenkins has undoubtedly been the best rookie O-lineman in the NFL. Through his 10 games, 8 starts, he's allowed 0 sacks, 0 QB hits, and just 10 QB pressures in 536 snaps. And I know everybody out there is going, yes, but you guys talked about that sack that he gave up. That would have been, it did not get credited to him because there's some sort of funky rule with stats. That went to Aaron Rodgers because of the amount of time he was given
If
in
you're
the
past
pocket.
7 seconds holding as a lineman in front, that's what the rule is. I looked it up. It's 7 seconds.
Yes.
If you hold a lineman past 7 seconds, there's no sack credit.
So that sack was not credited to him. It was actually credited to Aaron Rodgers. So that is why he is still at 0 sacks, 0 pressures, because of it's a goofy rule, but yes. See? It's just more how and why. So yes. But yeah, it seems to be this is trending the last 2 days.
Wow. Sorry to say this, folks, but a 5th Steeler has gone down with an injury tonight. Deontay Johnson, who is one of the Steelers' breakout wide receivers this year, has gone to the blue tent for concussion. Ex-Packer Demarius Randall, doesn't surprise me, gets ejected from the game because he took a cheap shot at Deontay Johnson coming across the field and whiplashing Deontay Johnson's head. Shame on you, Demarius Randall. Looks like you haven't learned your lesson and grown up yet. So glad you're not in Green Bay.
And everybody said it was a mistake getting rid of him because he's a decent player. Not a great player, a decent player.
Do you know how quick LaFleur and Gutekunst would have got him out of the locker room? I mean, Gutekunst already did it, but LaFleur wouldn't have put up with his shit. He doesn't like those players.
Because they disrupt the atmosphere in the locker room. All right, Dave, we're going to take a quick break because it's been almost a half hour. We need to pay the bills, man. We'll be right back, folks. When we come back,
sir.
We've got a few more, I'm sure, news updates, don't we, Dave?
Oh, I'm going to get to that Elton Jenkins thing before we get off the break, too. I want to talk about that.
Yes, we'll get it back to that in just a minute. We'll be right back, guys. And if you haven't had enough of our banter tonight, you want to visit NFL Addictions on Facebook.com for all of your NFL banter and chatter. It's not a trash talk site, so keep it clean and keep it cordial. That's NFL Addictions on Facebook.com. And if you still got an itch to scratch when you're done with that, you want to visit Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for their version of the raffle for all kinds of cool prizes, even a chance at winning some cash. You buy a $10 raffle ticket for a chance at winning $100. That's a chance at making 10 times your money. It don't get any better than that. That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for a chance at all kinds of cool prizes. Tell them what you've won, Dave.
I've won everything from tailgating barbecue sets. That I have a Packers one that I won, folks, for $400. I put $40 down on the spot.